I'm just doing a short little vid. I'm in the shed. Too much noise in the house, so I'm out in the shed and it's a bit bloody cold, to tell you the truth. So I'm going to rush through it. We've all seen or found or heard about the Cartwheel pennies and 2 pennies. Most of them are in conditions like this, but they're still nice finds when you find one. Some are countermarked. Don't know what that stands for, but some are not too bad. Well, I call it not too bad. Other people say it's rubbish, but who cares, right? And there's I was lucky enough to find a 2p, sorry. And believe it or not, I found a penny first, as I was made up with that, and a week later on the same field I found a 2p, so that was great then. Anyway, this is to do with, in a roundabout way, an Englishman, a Scotsman and a German walk into this pub. No, that's another joke. No, Englishman, Scotsman and German. And how these come about was there was a shortage of copper coins. I think the highest copper coin in denomination at the time was a half penny or half pence, and most of them, they reckon at one point more than half was forgeries, and basically it couldn't carry on that way. So what they started doing, companies, including the Paris Mining Company, had their own tokens made, and the one who was making them was a Matthew Bolton, and he had a mint in Soho in Birmingham, but they were using like the old style steam presses, and they wasn't that good. And then what happened is a certain person, you might know him, called James Watt, the inventor and engineer. If you look at a light bulb you see his name on it. He was asked by a friend to repair one of these old machines, so he had a look at it and all, and he thought, well, not very good this. He said, I can improve on this. So he did, he improved on it, all to do with, I don't know, steam pressure and cylinders and all that. If you want to find out about that, the technical stuff, then you know you can do a bit of research on that. So anyway, he improved on them greatly, these machines, and so basically Matthew Bolton got to hear about him and what he'd done and all that, and they got together and they formed a company, and they were basically going round installing machines, these new steam engine type machines. But as I say, Matthew Bolton was making at the time tokens, because obviously firms, big companies, they couldn't rely on the coinage because it was getting frozen, so they wanted their own coinage, and that's where all the tokens come from. But what he wanted, he petitioned the government a good few times, to be allowed to make some coins, new coinage, copper coinage, and they kept knocking them back and all that, like governments do. But eventually the company was actually losing money. The company was just, obviously it was called Bolton and Watt, that was the name of the company. They were losing money actually, and then like on the 11th hour he got the commission, or whatever you want to call it, contract, to make these coins, these new coins. And that was the 1 penny and the 2 penny coppers. So obviously it was made up with that. So they had to bring someone in. Well, they didn't bring him in, they already had him. He was a designer, and his name was, if I can find it somewhere, he's a German, and he was called Konrad Heinrich Kuchler. That's Kuchler, and he'd done the designs for these coins. So anyway, they made all these coins and that, and they were going to, actually, the government were thinking about making a 3p coin, and then they decided, well, it might be a bit heavy, because as you know, these were the pennies were a full 1 ounce of copper, and the 2 penny was a full 2 ounce of copper. So anyway, these copper coins they wasn't a great success at first, because people thought they were, you know, cumbersome and all that. And a lot of them was used as counterweights, you know, because at the time it was pounds and ounces and all that was used. And these obviously were being a 1 ounce and 2 ounce and all that. They were great as counterweights and all that. And a lot of them were saved really through that. That's why some of them are really fantastic condition and all that. Not the ones that are buried, but. And also, what happened, the price of copper started to move up. So instead of like the 2p or 2 pence being worth 2 pence, it was actually worth more as copper. So people were hoarding them and saving up like scrap metal in a way, really. Anyway, so that's a rough idea of how they come about. A couple of firsts. They were the first coin to be in circulation, or official coin, if you want to call it that way. That was actually made on a steam press. And also, you probably can't see it on the coin itself, because these are not in brilliant condition. But the first coins with Britannia holding a trident in the left hand instead of a spear. Just another useless bit of information, but that's true. It's a first on that. They were only made for 3 years. That was 1797, 1798 and 1799, and they were first produced on the 19th of June 1797. But as you know, they all carried the same date, which was 1797. The company was, you know, it was doing great at the time. They made coins for other countries, and you know, they were just knocking them out left, right and centre. And they even sent 20 million blanks, because sometimes they do blank coins and send them off to countries and they press them themselves. You know, 20 million, a little connection here to America. 20 million blanks they sent to Philadelphia to get stamped into 1 cent and ½ cents coins. Anyway, in 1799, well, hang on, roughly, you want to know probably, there's roughly 44 million 1 pennies made, and only, I think it was 722,000 of the the 2 pennies made. So that's why you don't find as many 2 pennies as you do 1 pennies. Anyway, the last bit of information for you is Matthew Bolton ordered the destruction of the dies that were used to press these, and that was on the 26th of July 1799. So anyway, that's just a little thingy on the Cartwheel pennies and the Cartwheel 2 pennies. And for them who don't know, they were called Cartwheels, or given a nickname Cartwheels, because of the rim around the outside. So that's where the name come from. Another little bit of information before I finish. I'm going to do the draw in a minute for the George coin. You can't see on this coin because it's not a really good one, but down here on the rock by a shield, it's actually got Soho, and that's been named after the mint. It's the Soho Mint in Birmingham where they were produced. So you've got a good example, or you can look online, you'll see Soho down there. Right, I think that's all I can tell you about the coins. You can go online and find out a load more if you want, and all that, but I just thought to give you a rough rundown. And as I say, back then the government asked the company to make them, but it was actually, you make them for the king, and at the time it was George III, and that's what the letter, or the proclamation, or whatever you call it, it said, for the king. So anyway, that's it. Load of rubbish again, but it's a bit of fun, isn't it? Right, so I'm going to go in and do the draw now. Warm my feet up, my feet's freezing. So I'll catch you in a bit.